Why be a caterpillar if you can be a butterfly? What is the difference between a caterpillar and a butterfly? A caterpillar spends all its life traversing through one dimension alone, a plane, before it realizes that it has the potential to transcend dimensions and become a butterfly. What do you want to be when you grow up is a question that I think every Indian student is asked at one point or the other. And of course, the expected answer is that you either want to be a lawyer, a chartered accountant, or a doctor. Simply put, this society gives us neat boxes to fit our lives into. And this entire boxed way of thinking doesn't just start or end in childhood. It goes for your entire lifetime. So, how are you supposed to live? What's the right way of making money? Who to marry? Whether to have children? Your entire life is supposed to fit in neat boxes. So, here I am today in front of you, arguing for you to consider that this idea of you choosing the one profession is a myth and that it needs to be broken. If you look at the history, polymaths, a polymath is somebody who is an expert in a wide range of subjects. Polymaths have been geniuses from times across. So for example, think of Aristotle, who was great in mathematics, but also in philosophy and astronomy. In the Indian context, think of Aryabhatta, who was equally adept at astronomy and at mathematics. Move a little bit further, think of Chanakya, who was a political strategist, but also an economist par excellence. Think of Swami Vivekananda, a spiritualist and also a social reformer. Think of Rabindranath Tagore, who was not just into poetry and philosophy, but also music. And of course, think of the latest global icon, Elon Musk, who seems to glide through different areas such as automotives, solar energy, and a whole lot of different things absolutely smoothly. So why am I considering you to be a polymath? Post-capitalistic society, we are now looking in a world where we don't need lawyers or doctors or chartered accountants. We need people who can solve problems. And problem solving does not happen on the neat boundaries of different boxes. Consider this. Post-industrial revolution, we were churning out students who could become experts in one thing and do that repeatedly over and over again. Now, even in today's education system, there's a lot of emphasis on you becoming experts at one thing. I'm not arguing against expertise, but I'm saying that this old mantra that either you're a jack of all trades or you're a master of one needs to be demolished. The new mantra for our age, which the new education system needs to imbibe, I think is this. You need to be a jack of all trades and also a master of one. Let me give you a few examples. When I was asked, what do I want to be when I grow up? I didn't have an answer. I just knew that I wanted to do something for people. And where did that come from? I remember sitting in my father's office in Harda, Madhya Pradesh. I was maybe in class 4th. And a person with his heart thela was crossing past. There were glass windows, so I could see him. It was very, very hot. And the man didn't have any chappals or slippers on. So I asked my dad, we are sitting here in the comfort of our AC office. How's that man surviving with so much heat, with absolutely no chappals on? And well, he gave me a long sermon. But I grew determined that I want to do something that I'm able to help this man. Now, no education curriculum teaches you how to solve poverty. No education system teaches you how to solve big problems like climate change, or for example, water hygiene, or for example, sanitation. And yet, what the world needs today are people who can think outside the box, who can do what we call disruptive thinking and become good at solving problems. Now, research has shown that polymaths are able to cross-apply skills, that is from one field of area to the other, and which is why all the top companies in the world are not just looking for people who are good at this or that, they're looking for people who can cross-apply their skills. Now, so the question is, when you're growing up, it's very romantic to say, like for example in my case, that I'm a journalist with absolutely zero journalistic training, running India's first newspaper for women. I'm also, by my professional abilities, a lawyer. That's my bread and butter. And by passion, I'm a politician. Now, when I was growing up, I didn't think that, well, I will need training for all of these things. I pursued my career not like a straight line, but like a jigsaw puzzle, trying to fit in different pieces right. So if you were to ask me, you're advocating for being a polymath, all right, for breaking this idea of unidimensionality, all right, but was it easy? My dear friends, while freedom is the absolute premium value to live by, it is absolutely not easy to live with it. There are days when you are spiraling downwards with your family unable to understand what is it that you're trying to do in your life. Are you trying to make a conventional career for yourself? I am 36, a lawyer, a journalist, and a politician. And yet there are times when I cannot see the path ahead of me. And yet, if I have to become a butterfly, and if you have to become a butterfly, we need to learn to embrace that vulnerability and get in touch with all the different cells of ours, body, mind, and soul. In fact, from a spiritual perspective, I'm beginning to see this more and more, that just like the petals of consciousness flower, not all together, but one at a time, if I do a profession that applies or it kind of appeals only to my mind or to my body or to my soul, I wouldn't have done justice. Now, this whole idea about oneness and duality goes ages back. And when it comes to application, while your journey may begin right after school, thinking about the one career option, it might culminate into realizing that even the many paths is not the answer. The answer perhaps lies somewhere in alignment, in being so present, in so balancing the different aspects of yourselves that when a problem arises, you will know exactly what their solution is. And consider this. I come from Harda, Madhya Pradesh, as I just shared with you. And yes, I'm a lawyer, and yes, I'm a politician. And yet, when Harda, for the first time in its history, saw a massive factory blast, which ruined the house of about 50 people and injured hundreds and more, killing 13 or more, I was shocked. I didn't know how can I live in my consciousness knowing that being a lawyer and a politician and a journalist, I can't do anything for those people who absolutely came on streets. And at that point of time, it wasn't my legal knowledge because I knew, unfortunately in India, law takes forever, cases take forever. It wasn't my politics because the party I am with is not in power, neither in the state nor at the center. And my journalism, who am I supposed to interview? Nobody who is in the position of power has anything to comment on this case. So what did I do? I sat on the Ghanta Ghar Chowk, which is like a city square, for 15 days on a hunger strike, with 50 women sitting with me day in, day out, even in dripping water. These women, mind you, came from really low economic backgrounds. Their husbands would abuse them every day. How dare you sit on the chalk in the glare or in the gaze of hundreds of men crossing past? And do you think that justice will be done? These men asked their wives. And yet these wives and the women, very courageous women, in that moment became social reformers. They became activists. And their courage helped me to realize that the problem I'm trying to solve, which is justice for these people, could not be perhaps done with me being rigid in my role as either a lawyer or a politician or as a journalist. So as you grow out of law school, remember, these boxes are helpful, but to live a full life, whole life, and may I say, to live an absolutely historic life, you need to break down these rigid boxes and you need to chart a path that takes you to different dimensions of being. And when you feel low and you feel, I have absolutely no idea where my path is taking me, this is the quote that kind of encourages me, and I'm sharing it with you. Whatever you can do or believe you can, begin it, because boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Thank you very much.